Spider-Man would have stopped it in 2 seconds and caught him. What's going on?
Welcome back to another episode of
Quack.
Quack,
Quack, quack.
Quack, Quack,
Duck face.
Duck Squad podcast.
Remember that episode of Full House?
Oh, yeah. Stephanie, she's like making fun of that little boy.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tell her, like, that's like mean.
You're like, Stephanie, what are you doing?
She had like no remorse until the end.
She did
like,
not care.
That is awful. Like,
She was rude.
this kid was getting bullied.
And then they became like best friends.
Because all the other kids came over and started making fun of him too.
Yeah.
Like, you came over to this girl's house and made fun of this child.
And at the end, Stephanie was like, oh, wait, you're actually kind of cool.
Hey, he was a nice kid. You just judged him because his lips all puckered out. That was the only problem. His lips.
Yeah, why were his lips like that, though?
He puckered out. I don't know. Someone had to tell him.
Honestly, he's just a quirky kid, I guess.
He was a nice kid, though. He didn't deserve that.
I guess not, but...
I guess not. What did he insinuate? Would possibly make it...
I don't know. Just why he said be like that. Why's he gotta be so quirky?
I don't know. They exist, these kids.
Yeah, they do.
We accept duck faces. But we're not here to talk about Full House.
Sorry, I'm getting beaconed to go surf my city. Do you hear
so
that
much crime in this city.
We need Spider-Man. Where
Honestly.
are you? Tom Holland, we get it, you're engaged, but the city needs you.
Yeah, he's been on hush mode. Last Spider-Man movie came out in 2021. It is 2025.
Yeah, where's he? We need Spider-Man.
We need Spider-Man
It's
back.
been too long.
I think it's supposed to go into production this summer. Then, like, hopefully next year it comes out.
Hopefully.
We'll see. But we are here. We are back at you with another episode. This time we're going to be reviewing
Hurry Up Tomorrow
from The Weeknd.
Rest in peace.
Yep. A little bit, if you don't know about The Weeknd, which I can't believe.
If you don't know The Weeknd, where have you been?
Yeah, honestly.
Everybody knows at least one Weeknd song.
You know, The Weeknd blew up.
We kind of grew up with him at this point.
Honestly, yeah, like his first
album came out in like what, 2014?
2013.
Yeah.
And even before that, he had like his mixtape series from like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So like
Spider-Man.
Swing through.
Oh my gosh. There's so much crime. It's like I live in New York City.
Crazy. I can't. But yeah, no, he's had a bunch of hits over the years. Hits like Can't Feel My Face, The Hills, Starboy.
I loved Starboy.
Starboy is really good.
I don't know. Just hearing the name Starboy just brings me back to like 2017.
I'm a Starboy.
I can't.
That was a time. What a time to be alive.
My gosh, that was great.
Oh, and of course, the big one everybody knows, Blinding Lights.
Yeah, Blinding Lights. That's his top song.
That's not even just his top song. That's like the top song of like the last decade, I think.
I think so.
Or something like that.
It broke a bunch of
records.
Yeah.
That song was huge.
That was crazy. And then Hurry Up Tomorrow is his final album, sadly. And it's not only the ending of The Weeknd, but it's also the end of his trilogy that he started back in, what was that,
2020? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like that album, After Hours, came out in 2020. And like it was like at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like in March 2020 when everything was shutting down. No, the album still did well. Blinding Lights was huge at the time.
Oh, yeah.
It still definitely blew up. And it went into Dawn FM, which dropped January 2022.
I loved Dawn FM.
It was very different for him. Like
it was very different. It was very it was very 8-bit. The whole album just made you want to dance, and it was a little bit like dystopian.
It was.
It has all those weird interludes. I thought it was very cool. He did something a little different.
And it led right into this final album.
Hurry Up
Tomorrow.
It's his 6th album. Even though he's been around for quite a long time, this is his 6th and final album.
He's one of those guys, like, he'd take breaks in between albums. And, like, you had this trilogy, so, like, it kind of felt like a little bit back-to-back.
Yeah, he spaced it out pretty well, I think. Hurry Up Tomorrow, it just came out at the end of January of 2025, and we haven't had an album from him since 2022.
That's a little over 3 years. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but yeah.
But we're just glad to have him back one last time. With that being said, you want to dive into it?
Yeah.
One last ride. It's like what is it?
Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We hope to see you again, Weeknd.
See ya, Abel. Abel.
Abel.
Keep your elbows off the table.
Did you, like, just come up with that, or did you, like
No, that's a saying, that's a thing.
is it?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't remember what TV show I heard it in, but ever since then, it, like, I think it was The Office. It's stuck in my head ever since.
Oh, that makes sense.
I had good table manners, so I never heard that as a kid.
That was always kinda weird, like, the whole elbows on the table type thing. What I'm supposed to do, just, like, even like this?
You're supposed to, like, put, like, your wrist or your forearm against the table, but that is more painful than
Yeah,
just putting your elbow
that's gonna bend my wrist
on
and
the damn table.
yeah.
So let me put my elbow on the table, Abel.
Alright, yeah, well, we just gonna dive into this album.
Here we go.
Opening track,
"Wake
"Wake
Me
Me
Up"
Up."
featuring Justice.
What you think?
I'm always excited to hear the very first track, but this had such a different feel to it because it felt like watching a movie trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah, didn't it? And
this is the kinda thing you can, like, play over a trailer, I think.
exactly, it had the dramatics, it had the climax to it, it had all these different elements to it, and the message of the song itself was really great. Just what I got from it is, when it's done, meaning life, you have to live your life fully and kind of do whatever you think fulfills your life, and the first half of the song is very, I think, different from The Weekend because it has that weird, like, movie trailer vibe to it that's kinda spooky,
Mhm.
and around, like, I think it was, like, the 2-minute mark, we go into that traditional weekend style where it's, like, kind of, like, dancey, it's kind of, like, a little more uplifting. I really like the opening line, though, where he says, "All I have is my legacy." I really like that opening line.
That line really sets the tone for where this album's gonna go the more
Yeah,
you get into it.
honestly. It's a perfect line to start your final album with, and it has that whole finale vibe as well to the beginning of the song, like,
You can tell it's, like,
you
it's the
can tell.
beginning of the end.
You can really tell. Really great movie trailer vibes. You know why?
Yeah, that reminds me, we should have said before, but,
That's okay, I figured the first track is a good spot to mention it.
yeah, that's true. But, yeah, this album is connected to a movie titled the same, Hurry Up Tomorrow, which will be coming out in May. So
Yeah,
it's
which seems really soon, because it's March.
but you gotta remember the album came out in January, so
That's true, that's
it
true.
seems new now because 'cause we're talking about it, but
Yeah, but starring Jenna Ortega
Jenna
and Abel.
Ortega and Abel, of course.
It kinda looks like it's gonna be like a psychological horror, but it's gonna tell the story of Abel.
That's what I'm thinking too. I definitely think the songs will kinda help carry it as well because like, this album tells a whole story, which I'm imagining will just be, like, put on the screen.
Yeah. I'm not one to go to the movies and see movies quite often, but I am excited to see this.
I am one to go to the movies to see them,
Yeah, you see every movie.
for real. I love going to the movies, so I'm definitely gonna be there.
Hopefully, it comes around here.
I hope so too, because sometimes movies like that just don't show up in our area.
Yeah, when artists drop these kinds of movies or, like, concert tapings, you have to go to, like, a major city to go watch them.
I'm not going all
So
the way to New York City, I'm sorry, Abel.
mm,
I can't afford all that for a movie. Movies here
at
be
that
costing
point, just
money.
go buy a concert ticket.
Honestly,
Exactly.
he'd be selling out.
Mhm. What did you rate this song?
I gave this song an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, I
I
give it
thought
a 9.
I was going back and forth between 8 or 9,
Mhm.
but, I do think, it has a very smooth start. It definitely has, like, those Michael Jackson vibes. He's always been compared to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I definitely could hear it, like, in the beat more than ever. But, yeah, the message of everything, trying to decipher, what's real and what's fake for him as he, like, goes throughout his career, getting deeper into it was really cool.
Mhm.
I don't know. I say
8
8 out of 10.
8 is solid.
Yeah.
8 is solid. I not that I ever had, like, an issue rating one of these songs, but I feel like it's hard for me to not like a Weekend song.
I mean, like, there's nothing here that's, like, really bad to me.
I've never heard a bad Weekend song.
Dude, like, just delivers. Like,
He
there's just
does.
something about the way, like, he picks beats and melodies and, like, the songwriting is always, like, top notch. It's something that just works. It's a
Yeah.
formula that just works.
I looked up his, like, astrology chart once
Mhm.
because I wanted to try and see that side of it. He is an Aquarius, so I think he's very intentional with his work.
That makes sense.
I forget what his moon sign is.
I don't remember. What you mean you don't remember?
I'll Google it. Hold on.
Stand by. We Googling. We trying to figure
Did you
this
know
out.
Blinding Lights was the WrestleMania theme for 3 years?
I knew it was at some point, but, like, was it that long?
I guess for, like, around 3 years.
I remember seeing commercials for it. I'm like hearing that song. I'm like, golly, this
Yeah.
song is everywhere.
I'm kinda glad though, because I was getting sick of, "I Can't Feel My Face" being everywhere. Okay. Able astrology chart.
If you haven't figured out, The Weeknd's real name is Abel.
Yeah, his name is Abel. He's from Canada. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
I mean, it's part of his life. He's
He was
Canadian.
Yeah, he was born on February 16th. We missed his birthday, so happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Mr.
Weekend.
Weekend.
Abel.
He's an Aquarius sun, he's a Scorpio moon, and a Cancer rising, so air and water. He's very emotional, and we see that in his songs, but I think being an Aquarius helps him be a little more intentional with his work. But you can tell his songs are very emotionally driven.
Absolutely. You can just you hear it in the lyrics. You can hear it like in the vibes. Like it just he pours his heart and soul into every track.
Honestly, I think that's why it's so hard to find a bad Weekend song. Everything's just so powerful.
Honestly,
Yeah, great first start.
this is a fantastic. I don't think there's a better way to open the album. Really,
Honestly,
like
this was
this might
great.
be my favorite opening from him. If I can think back to all his other albums.
Yeah, this was a very strong one compared to the rest of what he's done. All right,
Moving on from there, we got
number two.
"Cry for Me." But this kind of became like a single after the album came out. I've noticed.
Oh yeah, this was the one that dropped after
Yeah,
because it just blew up. He also performed this one live at the Grammys.
he did do that. Yeah, that was a surprise performance.
Yeah, that
I
was so cool.
I remember they were talking. No, the guy who was giving the speech about how the weekend had like a falling out with the Grammys.
That was
Like,
the Weekend. The host was the Weekend of the Grammys.
I wasn't the host.
I know it's a joke. Okay.
What would you think of this song?
So Trevor Noah did a great job with the song. Oh man, Cry for Me. When I'm thinking of like my top 3, top 5, this is very hard to like place because I love the song so much. I'm always excited to hear not only the first opening track, but the second track in the album.
Hmm.
I'm always excited to hear the second one because how do you follow up from your opening track is always interesting to me. But this one's great. I mean, it's about hoping the other person hurts like you hurt. You want them to feel the same pain you did, and you want them to cry like you did. We kind of start this first half of this album being kind of spiteful, having a lot of self doubt, fear, anxiety, and all these themes are so relatable. So the fact that we open this album up and have this very like upbeat, kind of like 8-bit video game like track to the lyrics is very fun to me with such a sad theme to it.
I like how the production it has like that kind of '80s vibe that he's like, kind of become known for. It
Yeah,
also has like a mix of like a trap vibe as well. You can kind of hear in the production. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
Sorry, I'm getting a spam call
stand by
from
weekend.
210 area code. Yeah, the weekend's calling. 1 second.
Hmm.
Sorry.
All good within the hood.
I really love the production on the song. Even like the opening, when you hear the doo doo doo, it just gives me the chills every time. I love it. The song gets stuck in your head so easily, and the song's very fun to sing. I don't know if if you like to sing in the car, in the shower, when you're home alone,
Home
or what.
Alone.
Yeah, home alone. Like what's his name?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. What a name.
But he's a weekend fan.
I bet so. I really like the increase of intensity before the bridge kicks in at around 2 minutes as well.
Hmm.
It's very fun. I love this track.
It has that pulsing kind of vibe to it. Kind of gets your heart going.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just the sentiment of the song, just hoping someone feels the way that you've been feeling, even though you guys are no longer together. That's very, like you said, a very relatable thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people go through. I really love this song. That totally makes sense to me that it's a single. I think
Mhm.
as good as this album is, I don't know if a lot of these songs will work as like a standalone single because like these songs, it stands so much as like a album you have to listen to as a whole because of the story. So there's not a lot here. Well, a lot of these songs are great. Not a lot here I think works well as like just a standalone song. But I think this is one of the few that does work. So it totally makes sense to me why it's a single.
Mhm.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, I give it a 9.5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you really
I
like
think
this
you're
one.
right though. It's hard to pick certain songs out of
Yeah,
here to be singles because a lot of these songs, you can't have just one song, you gotta listen to all of them, or at least a good chunk of them. So it's
right.
hard to get a single song out of here. I didn't think about that before.
Moving on from there,
Alright.
I didn't include, like, the little interludes.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, but I didn't rate them because they're just little blurbs.
Mhm.
I
Uh,
just kinda wrote them in there in case we wanted to talk about them.
I didn't really unless you wanna say something real fast about him.
I got something real quick about this one. It's in the track list. It's number 3. It's titled "I Can't Effing Sing." This is the first like transition song we get because he adds a couple of these more so in the beginning of the album, and you can kind of hear him like kind of off to the side, just yelling like, "I can't sing. I lost my voice," because this is referring back to that one show he did a while ago, and he ended up losing his voice and having to cancel the show,
Mhm.
and that really like took a huge toll on him because I can't blame him though. You lose your voice in front of, like, thousands of people, and you have to, like, end your show?
It's a really bad situation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they come at you for that, but, like, what could they
Like,
do?
it's the equivalent of calling out sick at your normal job. I mean, that's what it is, like, you just physically can't work. That's his job.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just happens, you're human. But yeah, and the way it's produced, it just flows perfectly right into the next track, I think. I really like having these little sneaky little transition songs in there because the first time I listened to this album, I couldn't even tell.
I didn't
I have to
realize
go
it
back and
either.
be like,
Like, I saw we were on the next track, and, like, I was like, "Did I miss this track?
"Yeah."
Like, what happened? Did it just skip over?" I
Yeah, I
was
was
like,
like,
"Oh."
"Wait, I didn't listen to number 3. Did we skip it?" But it's only like a few seconds. It's quick, and it goes right into number 4.
You wanna say it?
Okay.
Can you say it?
Hey, isn't it just
Sao
Sao Paulo?
Paulo.
Sao Paulo?
Yeah,
Okay, you made
featuring
me nervous.
Anita.
Anita.
What'd you think?
This song was pretty good.
Oh, this was a single as well before the album, by the way.
Yeah,
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no, you're fine. This makes sense as a single because I feel like it doesn't fit quite as well with the rest of the album, so it makes sense to me that it's a single, but I mean, it's still a good song. It kinda gives me the vibe that this is a kinda song I would hear as I play, like, GTA or Cyberpunk 2077.
I could imagine this in GTA.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. Very, like, futuristic, very techy, and it has that weird, like, sexy vibe to it with the lyrics, like, if you go and Google what Anita's really saying in the beginning and stuff and the chorus,
Yeah,
it's got that,
it's
it's
very
very risque.
risque.
Yeah,
That's a good way to describe it.
yeah, so if we have a nice clean rating on Spotify, so if you wanna go Google what those words mean, you can go do that. I'm not gonna tell you.
By all means, go ahead, look
Nope.
that up yourself.
This is G-rated normally, maybe PG-13, but maybe PG.
Yeah, I was gonna
We're
say
P
you jumped
we're
from G
we're
to PG-13.
I forgot PG was the tone. This is a PG podcast.
Listen to this with your kids on the way to school or work.
Uh, I really like the bridge at 3 minutes and 30 seconds
Mhm.
because it's just I don't know. I really like it, and it really gives me that, like, Cyberpunk 2077 vibes because there are songs in that game soundtrack that sound really similar to Sao Paulo, and I mean, like, this song isn't my favorite, but I don't dislike it. I'm not gonna pick this one and be like, "Oh, yeah, I really wanna listen to Sao Paulo."
This song, I think, is really driven by the production because you're
Mhm,
right, there's not really anything on the album like this. This is very much like a Brazilian pop sounding type song, which
mhm.
makes sense given that Anita is on the song. That's kind of more her vibe. But like, yeah, it very much stands out on its own. Definitely makes sense as a single. Yeah, the lyrics kind of drag it back down a little bit for me because that's not really something I love to hear. But like the production, just you can't help but like get infected by it. It really just drives you. It really just
Yeah,
on it very dance heavy, which is
yeah.
really dope. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Ooh,
I went back and forth between, like, 6 or 7, but,
yeah,
I really did love the production. It really worked well, and he sounded really great over it, this type of production. So, like, for me, that was enough to bump it
okay.
up to 7.
I gave it a 6.5
Mm.
because, I don't know, I don't feel like it fits well with the rest of the album, but like I said, it's hard for me to really not like a Weekend song, so this is kind of teetering that line.
Next track?
Until We're Skin and Bones. This is another transition song,
Right.
and this is instrumental. There's no Abel on this singing. He's just producing. No voices. Maybe because he lost his voice in the first transition.
Trying to find his way back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Um,
feel like that kinda thing kinda leads into the next track being
yeah, exactly. But because Sao Paulo, it had such different vibe from what we're about to hear, I really appreciate having that transition song here because you kind of have to shift gears and start listening to Baptized in Fear, because if you went straight from one to the other, it would be too awkward and
Yeah,
a little too, like, abrupt. But also this the transition's kind of fun. Like, I felt like I was getting, like, shot into space.
I agree.
It was fun. It was very spacey. I thought I was in a rocket ship.
We're definitely starting to transition into a different part of the story once you get into the next track here.
Yeah, we're about to take a turn.
Baptized in Fear. What'd you think of this track?
I mean, the title says it all in this one. And also, I will say, whenever you hear a song start with like 100 yeahs, you know it's gonna be good. You know?
He's warming you up.
Yeah, he's gotta get into it. It's such a great song that talks about anxiety and stuff, and this theme is kind of carried throughout the rest of the album, and you wanna do right and do the right thing and be good, but you're so consumed by the fear of, like, your anxieties and just, whatever's troubling you. There's quite a few favorite lines I have in the song, but one of my favorite ones is "Figure in the corner laughing at me," because sometimes that's exactly what anxiety feels like, or any kind of mental illness in general. You kind of feel like it's just like it's keeping you down and it's just like watching you and just waiting for you to fail. And it kind of holds you back. So it's kind of scary. But I like that he personified it like that. Um and I will say this was the first song I got obsessed with when I listened to the album. I think I put this on repeat like 12 times.
I think a lot of people were like definitely gravitated toward this song.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people were really getting obsessed with Cry for Me, and I was obsessed with Baptized in Fear when this first dropped.
I think because Cry for Me is like right there at the start,
Yeah.
it was easier for people to jump onto that song.
Yeah. I
But
didn't get
this
into it.
song, it definitely it dives more into the lyrics of just of the story of the album overall. You know, this at this point he's really talking about anxiety and like yeah, how it affects him and how it's gonna affect him more throughout the album because like there's definitely a lot more of this message going on throughout the album. And using baptism as like a way of trying to express, trying to get rid of that, but like how it could still follow you regardless, because it's just something you had to live with. It's not something you really can be washed away. It's just something you try to deal with better as you go along in your life, which I
Yeah.
really like to see. I gave this song. I really love the chorus as well. I thought the chorus was very good.
Yeah.
The voices should tell me I should carry on.
I love that line.
That's a really good line.
Mhm.
I gave this song a 7 out of 10. I liked it. I did. I just didn't quite love it. I'm not sure. I couldn't really describe why. It's just not something that was catching me as much. But definitely not a bad song by any means.
Alright. That's valid.
What'd you say?
I gave this a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
This is a 10 out of 10
Ooh,
song. Since this is the last album, he's given us a little bit of everything here, you know? Like, we had some dance party songs, we've got some sad songs, we got a little bit of everything. So, this was one of my favorites on the album.
it's a good track.
It's a good one. Thank you for the song, Abel.
And this leads into one of my favorite songs.
Oh, the transition in this
The
one is so
transition,
good.
this is one of my favorite transitions.
There's no transition track between these 2 songs, he just makes them flow right into each other, and
Yeah.
it's so cool.
That's partly why I was thinking, like it's hard to listen to these songs stand alone because of how they just lead into each other like this sometimes.
That's a good point.
But like these two songs bleed into each other just perfectly. This is one of my favorite transitions of "Open Hearts" is the track. What did you
Mhm.
think?
The transition is too good. Like, I don't think we deserved it.
We didn't honestly.
You really didn't. It's just too smooth, and the theme itself is great because he's right, falling in love again is scary, but you have to take the chance, I mean, if that's what you wanna do. It's another heavy message with it's got that, like, vintage, like, 2010s beat to it, and honestly, even though the message is, like, a little down, all I wanna do is, like, jump and dance to the song. It's just so fun.
Yeah, I like songs like that. Like they have like that very infectious dance kind of beat, but the lyrics are like very dark, very heavy.
It makes wanting to jump and dance mean so much more. Like, all I wanna do is hear this song live. It's too good.
I agree. Like this is the kind of song we've come to expect from Abel at this point, but like it's just something he shines at so well. You got that '80s pop influence type sound.
Yeah.
It just works well for with his voice. Yeah, the sentiment of the song, trying to move on to a new love, but the scars from your past relationships, your past feelings, you carry it with you, so it's just hard to open yourself back up again.
I almost feel like Open Hearts could be on the deluxe version of Dawn FM.
I get that vibe too. It
Yeah.
definitely the production definitely has like that. It kinda reminded me of what "How Do I Make You Love Me" from Dawn
Yeah.
FM. That
Yeah.
production was very similar to me.
Yeah. He's always had this kind of vibe to the majority of his music, but it's like 2.0 in this album. Like, it's just so fun. But then the message is so like, oh my gosh, it grabs your heartstrings.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. He's good at it. Why is he gonna stop?
We don't know. Maybe he's you kinda know with this album why, but after this song, I had no complaints here. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It's
Ooh.
one of my favorite tracks.
Wow. I felt like Open Hearts. This is a similar vibe to his older songs, but it's a lot more refined in this. And the transition was great. The message is great and everything. I gave it a 9.5.
Okay.
It was good. I liked it a lot.
Next track, Reflections Laughing.
Oh, I didn't wait, you missed one.
Oh, yeah, the
You missed one, and it's not a transition song. I will argue with you.
what song is it? What am I missing?
Opening Night.
That's kind of a transition
No,
song.
it's not.
It kinda
It is
is.
not a transition song.
Ew. Agree to
Don't do
disagree.
that. There is no argument because 'cause
We'll
you're
accept
wrong.
opinions.
No, you're wrong on this one. It's not a
Opinions.
transition song.
What did you think of Opening Night?
Well, I'll tell you, since, it's got this spacey production to it, and
Yeah,
it's got, like, all these cool little elements to it, like the phone ring. It just has this hazy, like, slow-mo vibe to it that I'm really into. It has a huge atmosphere to it, and it's such a short song. I think it's, like, a minute and a half long. So it's too short, which is my only problem with it. My favorite line in the song was, "Give me what I want, and then we'll start the show." And I think this is kind of alluding to another theme we're gonna get into, or already started to get into, which is, like, drug addiction and stuff like that, which is why I think it has that hazy kind of vibe to it. But regardless, I think was an amazing song. I'm so sad it was only, like, a minute long because
it's
it's
probably
so
because it's a transition
it's
song.
not a transition song. This is a song. It's not a transition.
Like an interlude. Like,
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I thought it was good, but, like, I just kind of viewed it as, like, a transition for
Okay.
me. It's the last, like, real transition to me because the rest are, like, just straight songs that kinda, like,
Yeah,
they bleed into each other.
yeah, that's true, I guess.
Alright, now we'll get into reflections laughing.
Yeah, now we'll talk about Travis Scott
Yeah, Travis Scott on this track.
and Florence the Machine.
Yeah, she's that voice.
Yeah, she's here.
It further dives into, anxieties that, you can experience with your fame that, he said he's experienced. It dives more into that, fearing that people might move on for you or, like, other people might try and come in and take your spot, which I think everybody kinda has that fear once you're on top for so long.
Yeah,
Like, it's like people, they just come in, they have your vibe, they kinda have, like, that sound that you have, like, somewhat similar to it, and, like, people just kinda just get tired of you after you've been out for so long, you drop so much music, and you kinda just fear like you'll be forgotten or someone will
yeah,
trying to come up and take that from you. Also, like, Travis Scott, his contributions here were good. I think, usually when Weeknd and Travis are together, it's a pretty good collaboration, and you can tell the production is very much influenced by Travis Scott. Like, I kinda feel like this is
yeah,
something that could have been on his last album, Utopia. But, yeah, that it was not a bad song, not one of my favorites on here, I would say, but, I definitely still think, it works well in the story.
yeah. I would put it right in that middle range. It's still it's good, but I don't know if this is one of my favorites, but it was still cool. I liked how it transitioned from opening night into reflections. It kind of felt like one whole song to me,
Mhm.
and I really like in between reflections that phone conversation because I like how it kind of
Florence.
introduces us to Travis's part. Yeah, I really like that little phone conversation in between it and just talking like, "Hey, I hope you're not on that stuff again. I hope you're doing better." This is alluding into his like
Drug
his
addiction,
past,
yeah.
yeah, his past drug addiction and stuff.
Which
Which
also you get more into as you go into this album.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Reflections is, like, almost like the second half of Opening Night. I really like the chorus in it. I really liked Travis's part. I
Mhm.
thought he did pretty good, but it does kind of sound more of like a Travis song than a Weekend song.
Yeah, that was kinda like my issue with it.
Yeah. I ended up giving this a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's better here, I think.
There's better, but
Definitely not a
it's
bad song by any means.
no, it's still great. It's just kind of like, "Oh, it's in there."
Alright, but moving on from there, we got the next track, "Enjoy the Show."
Featuring Future.
Future, one of 2 Future songs on his album.
That's so true, but he's not featured on the other song.
He's not credited, but, like,
Yeah,
we'll get more into that in a second.
anyway.
As for this track, I love, like, the chipmunk vocals, like, in the background.
Yeah,
It's very much, like, early Kanye kinda vibe. Like, if you listen to, like, the
yeah,
first couple of his albums, like, he kinda
it
did that kinda
is.
thing too, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I really like, cause like, I like early Kanye. Early Kanye.
Early Kanye, we don't like recent Kanye.
I don't mess with this, I don't
We're
know.
not gonna get into
We
it.
don't gotta get into that. But yeah, Future's another rapper I think The Weeknd works very well with. Like, I don't think they really have a bad song either.
Oh,
And I love, both of their singing here. Like, Future is not a singer by any means, but I think, like, his voice actually worked well here. I thought he kinda shined. Both of them discussing, like, their struggles with drugs and comparing the high that they get to a show, which, goes along with enjoy the show just while you're here in the moment,
yeah.
which was really dope. And the production on here was very smooth as well.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm looking at my rating and I'm kind of regretting it when I'm comparing it to the previous song, but I really like the slow dance vibe we get to this. It's very like it's almost like that slow-mo vibe again. The theme of just like, when I go, I hope at least you had a good time and, I hope it was worth it. I hope you felt the same way because I had a good time. I hope you did.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about Future, but I love his voice, and I was so happy to see them do some songs again. Remember they had
There were some falling outs.
yeah, but last year, Weekend was on We Still Don't Trust You.
Yeah, the title track.
Yeah.
They got a
So,
Grammy nom for that.
yeah, they did, they shoulda won. They shoulda won, but that's okay. I'm so glad they did another song.
What
Really
was
like
your rating? I'm
hang
sorry.
on.
I'm sorry. I thought you
Sorry, I'm, like, reading my notes again, and I'm like, I, like, don't know how to read today."
I can't read.
I really like the last verse. "I just wanna die when I'm at my effing peak."
Hmm.
I think that speaks
Quack.
I yeah. I think that's speaking to more of what you were talking about on Reflections,
Mhm.
how, like, you don't wanna see who takes over, or you don't wanna just die and be forgotten. You may like, if you're peaking, you should may as well just end it there because he just doesn't wanna deal with the downhill and the effects of dying out, which I think is part of why he's killing The Weeknd.
Honestly, yeah. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. I I personally feel like there's still stronger songs on this album, but these verses kinda hit home. I originally gave this a 6.5, but I kinda wanna bump it to a 7.
I gave it a 7,
Yeah.
so I can see that.
I really liked that this followed Reflections too because I kinda liked how the vibes and the themes kinda flowed into each other.
Yeah,
So I kinda wanna rate them both a 7 because to me, they're kind of like one full song almost.
that makes sense. Like, I definitely I got that vibe too, listening to these songs
Mm,
together.
yeah.
I do kinda feel though, like this half is a bit stronger,
Mhm.
which is why I would probably keep Reflections at a 6 and
Okay.
this at a 7.
Yeah.
But things kinda pick up a bit more for me with this next track.
Yeah.
"Giving Up on Me."
We're at the halfway mark of the album pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. This is also the longest track on the album. It's almost 6 minutes long. It's 5 minutes and 54 seconds.
Yeah, this was a big boy.
This is a long one.
He's further diving into the drug addiction. This section really, I think, deals with like his addiction to drugs,
Mhm.
trying to shake that. But the song also, I think, goes very hand in hand with "Enjoy the Show" as well. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of helps because Future again, he shows up here. He's not credited on this song because like he doesn't have as much to do here, but like
Yeah.
his vocals are definitely in the background. You can
Yeah.
hear it.
He pops up.
Yeah, the drug addiction is, it's a hard thing to let go of for the weekend, as she passionately sings about, trying to let it go, but like it's not something you can just drop. Like you can even hear like in the lyrics, why won't you leave me? Why won't you
Mhm.
let me go? It's like it gets a handle on you. And it's
Yeah.
like it's a very hard thing to shake, and I think a lot of people could relate to that type of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions in the lyrics, a lot of whys, and a lot of reflection.
I also really love like in the second half of the song because like it kind of has like a bit of a transition in the song within itself.
Yeah.
But like yeah, him understanding, drugs are just they're no good for him. Even if they kinda make you feel good in the moment, it's just no good for yourself, in your life, and how it affects you and the people around you. Like, it's a very hard thing to reflect, but he reflects on it well here.
Yeah, I think so. I like that we start with that, like, that kinda slow jazzy vibe, and then we move into that trap beat, and I
Mhm.
thought that was a really smooth transition, and then towards the end, we go I know, right around 2 minutes, we go back into that jazzy feel,
Yeah.
and I like how he bounces between that and the beat. This song kind of picks up where we start getting that reflection vibe and the theme of, like, forgiveness and wanting to ask for mercy and all these things because he's realizing what he's done and beating addiction and things like that. This song gets a little religious, and the second half of this album gets a little religious.
Yeah, he definitely deals more with his faith as you do as you get into more of the album, yeah.
Yeah, this is where he kind of introduces where he starts, like, asking the Lord for company and protection and forgiveness and all the stuff. This is where we start to hear that kind of religious theme, which is fine. I'm not a super religious person, but I understand it because everyone's different and there are points where you don't know what else to do but to ask for help,
Yeah.
you know?
No, I definitely get that.
Yeah. Overall, I thought this was a great song though.
I thought this was a really great song. It definitely picked up the album a bit for me as after we could not like a slump, but like, kinda
Yeah.
like a couple tracks I wasn't really loving. But,
Mhm.
this definitely kinda turned things around a bit. I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Ooh, I gave it a 7.5.
Okay.
I appreciate the longer songs that he throws in.
Next track, I Can't Wait to Get There. What did you think?
So here we start to take more of like an up close look and get a more intimate look on his emotional second half of this album because I feel like in the first half we get more of those like singles and more of the upbeat songs, and then after Giving Up on Me we start to kind of take a huge 90-degree turn,
Mhm.
and this is a very emotional song. I mean, here, this is where he talks about how he dropped out of high school, how he feels like he had to work harder to get to where he is, and he wants to be around people who have gone and gotten these degrees, who are scholars. He wants to be around these people. He wants to better himself. But it's when you've taken different paths in life, it's hard
Mm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You sometimes you don't realize that taking a certain path is gonna affect you way later on in life until it's too late, but I really liked the reflection in this song, and I liked in here he's, like, stating the goals he wants to achieve and stuff like that. I just thought it was too short. I feel like there could have been more.
There could have been more to this track, but the old school vibe with the production I really loved, as well as the background vocals. And, I don't know if you noticed, but, like, there were a couple shots taken
The song got a little shady.
a little shady towards a certain Canadian rapper.
I didn't write any of that down because I didn't know if we were gonna talk about it again,
We don't
but
gotta get into it, but,
we
like,
don't gotta talk
I
about
think you
him,
guys know
but
who I'm talking about.
yeah, he gets a little shady.
It gets a little shady here, but they've kinda had, like, a rough history themselves. There's been, like he put the weekend on, honestly, in a way, so, like, you kind of show respect for that,
Hmm,
but, like, there's been a lot of, like, just back and forth between the 2, and I think they're just kinda done at this point.
oh, yeah.
But, like, it's kinda hard not to see it in the lyrics, which, it's just something I thought I'd point out.
Yeah,
But, yeah, I do wish the song were a bit longer. I think that would've helped a bit more, but I still thought it was a good track. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.5.
Okay. Moving on from here, we got a big single from the album. I think this is the song
Yeah,
that everybody knows at this
this is
point.
yeah, this is the single, and I'm kinda surprised it's in the second half of this album.
I think it fits well where it's at, though.
Yeah,
Definitely, like, with transitioning into it. We're talking about "Timeless" with Playboi Carti here. What did you think?
this is great. It's a I don't know if I love where it's placed, but maybe it makes sense when I think about it a little more, but, this was the song he performed at the Grammys. I think I said he performed "Cry for Me." Did he do both, or did he just do "Timeless"?
He did both.
Okay,
It started with "Cry for Me," then, Playboi Carti came in and they did "Timeless."
right, okay, thank you. I thought
Yeah.
I messed that up for a minute.
No, you
But
good.
yeah, he did this one, it was a surprise performance as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, like, they introduced, like, his history with the Grammys, how he had issues with
Yeah.
it. I was like, "Where's this going? Why are you bringing this up?" And then, like, out of nowhere, they were like, "Oh, we kind of resolved everything, and now here's a performance from the weekend. Hey."
Yeah.
It was crazy.
He's like, "Hey guys, I'm back. I'm nominated. What's up?" No, he was he nominated?
He wasn't.
No,
Like, because
sorry.
yeah, they were having
He is, yeah.
like, resigned all of his music to be nominated from the Grammys, but I guess now, though, he'll submit this album at least because
I
they
hope so.
resolved his issues, yeah.
It would be nice for him to win a Grammy for his last album.
It
I
would
think that
be.
would be nice. That'd be a nice conclusion. But, I mean, I love this song. I mean, who doesn't love this song? It's
Mm.
okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I spoke too soon. But, I mean, this is the song from the album. This is the most streamed song because it's a single. I like the title, "Timeless." I think it could have a double meaning here. Timeless, like time never runs out, or timeless, like you don't have any time. Which is it? I don't know. I like the double meaning that could be in there. This song, I think, is a great song to just listen to, but then it also has that, like, meaning below the surface. So, like, if you wanna dissect it, you can, or if you wanna just enjoy the song and party, you can. It's still great at the surface, and you can also dive into it a little bit. And I kinda thought this song could be a reflection or at least related to "Out of Time" from Dawn FM.
Mhm.
It made me think of that song. I'm not gonna lie, it had me listening to Dawn FM again. It made me feel nostalgic.
It's part of the trilogy. Remember you were saying, who wouldn't love this song?
Right after I said that, I forgot that we already talked about this song before.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Again, it was a single, so like we've kind of talked about this song with each other already.
Yeah.
I've never really cared for this one when it came out. I totally understand why it's a single. This probably works the best as a single out of all the songs here. And Playboy Cardi's kind of have like a moment right now,
Yeah.
where like everybody kind of wants him on their track. So that made sense, but you know, I don't really feel like I'm kind of back and forth with Playboy Cardi. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. I just
Yeah.
don't think his contributions here really did much of anything for me. The chorus is definitely makes the song catchy, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But, it's just all of it just kinda feels a bit generic for I think for both artists here. I kinda feel like both of them have done this kinda song already much better in the past. I mean, I guess just for the sake of collaborating with each other was cool, but I just think they could have done something stronger. I just don't think this was a very strong song, and I think and partially because, like, it was released so early that I'm not sure he found a good spot for it, but I kinda feel like this album would have been okay if it wasn't on the album also.
If it was just a single. Yeah.
I don't know. I just and I don't hate the song. I just don't think it just wasn't really for me. It's probably my least favorite song on the album, now that I'm thinking about
Ooh.
it. I give the song a 5 out of 10.
A 5.
Yeah.
Wow, is that your lowest rated song?
That is my lowest rated. I don't get lower than a 6 after that,
That's crazy.
I'll just say.
I gave it an 8.
Wow,
It's not my favorite, but I still like it.
okay.
I like that it has a little bit of dimension to it, in my opinion. The placing's a little strange, but I don't think it should have been placed later in the album, but maybe earlier.
I just don't think there would have been a good place for it on here. It's kinda tricky with, like, the few songs that were released before this album, this song and Sao Paulo, and there was even another song he released a while ago.
Oh,
What was that song called? Dancing in the Flames,
yeah,
which didn't make the album at all.
that was strange,
That was very
'cause that was
strange.
good.
I wonder if maybe the album was taking a different direction and these songs didn't quite work, but, like, a lot of people, like, they knew him and they were kinda big. But, he didn't include Dancing in the Flames on here.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Yeah, but I don't know. But moving on from there, I think unless you had anything else you wanted to say.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I forgot.
I wasn't sure if there was anything else after that.
No,
Well, then moving on from there, it's
forgot our whole conversation for a minute. I'm so sorry.
no, you're good.
I'm so tired. Arlo woke me up.
Early morning.
Mhm.
We're almost done, kinda.
It's okay.
Niagara Falls is the next track.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this one?
This one is another emotionally driven song.
It
It's
is.
I mean, we go from Timeless to this. It's like a huge jump in my opinion. It's, reliving memories and not being able to let go of somebody because of how you still feel about them. And I kind of like in the song, he kind of talks about how he had to like swallow his pride, and it's even though he realizes it's too late to reconcile anything, he's realizing that like what he could have done differently to save the relationship or whatever. And I like the echoing throughout the song. Like when you think of Niagara Falls, it's like one of the biggest waterfalls in like the country.
It is, yeah.
So I thought the echoing kind of worked with this. I thought it was a nice touch, and feel like we start to see the transition into the next track halfway through. So it kind of cuts the song short, in my opinion.
I feel like the track after this is where, like, not just, like, transition-wise in terms of, like, the production and everything, but, like, also story-wise. I think the album takes, like, a completely different turn.
Hmm.
So I kinda feel like this song kinda misses that train a bit. So, that's why it kinda
Yeah,
feels like the way that it does.
that's true. We kind of zigzag a bit because we had Given Up on Me and I Can't Wait to Get There, but then we have Timeless dropped in the middle of that, and then we
Again,
kind of go
yeah.
back to Niagara Falls, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at all these sharp turns. Like,
Again, I think "Timeless" was just included 'cause it was a big song. But, like,
yeah.
I kinda think it would've been okay if you just didn't have it here. But I'm not gonna keep talking about that. Niagara Falls, was still a good song. I liked again the chipmunk vocals show up again,
Yeah.
very snappy kind of beat, which I liked. Very classic sounding song for the weekend, and I mean that in a good way. 'Cause, sometimes that comes off a bit generic, but I think it works really well here.
Yeah, it's kinda like Old Weekend.
It definitely does feel like older weekend. I mean, like even like going back as far as like mixtape kind of sounding. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.5.
Okay,
Yeah, it's alright.
it leads into something really great though.
Something real good coming here.
Next track, "Take Me Back to L.A."
This was great.
Love this
I
song.
love this one. I'm so glad we agree.
I also really love the transition though in between the 2 songs.
Yeah, I feel
Getting
like
into
it's
this track?
yeah, I feel like it started a little bit too early in Niagara Falls, but, like, since I love Take Me Back to LA so much, I wasn't so mad about it.
I wasn't really mad at it either.
Yeah, I really like the message, just that isolation, and also, this is the complete opposite of Escape from LA from After Hours, the first of the trilogy.
Yeah,
It's total opposite. Now realizes he's like, "Oh, I've isolated myself from my friends and everything I loved, and why did I do that?" Hmm?
no, you keep going.
I was just gonna say sometimes you don't realize how good you had it until it's years later and you're like, "Wow."
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, you try to escape all of this, but, like, where he goes is, like, the pressures of fame just they continue to take a toll on him.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter the space that you're in, it's just, like, the physical space that you're in, but, like, the emotional space, like, you can still carry on with you no matter where you're going, and, like, I think he sees that in this song, and the song, talks about just wanting to get to a place where you feel good in your own skin, and you don't like, again, relating to Escape from LA, from After Hours, he thought maybe, like, if I got away from this place, it would make me feel better about myself, but that really didn't matter, the physical
yeah,
spacing, it's just how he felt inside that had to change.
yeah. Sometimes you have to move and do that stuff to realize though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what has to happen sometimes.
it does, and, like, you kinda had to have that eye-opening experience, but, it seems like at this point that experience helped him in changing and trying to grow,
Yeah,
which I really liked.
yeah. My favorite line is, "I hate it when I'm by myself."
Yeah,
It's a great line. I give this a 9 out of 10.
I gave this bad boy a 10 out of 10.
Ooh,
Love
this is
this song.
great. This is great.
Next track, though, Big Sleep.
Big sleep.
Seem like you need some big sleep.
I do need some big sleep. I've been having small sleep. Featuring Giorgio, how do you say it? Marauder. I'm
Mulatto.
sorry I wrote it weird.
Oh, you're good.
My handwriting was weird.
This guy worked with Daft Punk on their last album, and we all
Oh,
know Daft Punk. And he collaborated with The Weeknd on Starboy.
yeah.
So if you couldn't get Daft Punk, it's good to have this.
Yeah. So he's got Giorgio up in here.
Yeah,
I really liked the song. I thought it was really different from what we heard before, and it was very spooky, and even though it was so different, it still blended into the rest of the album, I think, really well. But I think we needed a song like Big Sleep mixed in here because I feel like it kinda wakes you up a little bit and you're like, "Oh," 'cause it's got this, like, spooky, like, production to it, which is really cool to me, and just the concept of you like, borrowed time. What did he say? He said, "It's the concept of borrowed time and wasting your life."
yeah.
He says, "Borrowed life and wasted time," which I think is about, like, anxiety and giving up, and you realize it's when it's too late. You're like, "Crap, I wasted all this time, and what did I do?"
It also reflects, how fame and stardom, all that just kind of comes to an end eventually, no matter what you do.
Yeah, yeah, no matter what, it all ends the same way.
The production is fantastic on this song. It all
So
feels
cool.
very grand.
Yeah.
I do wish it felt a bit more like there was more of a song here. I think you kind of let the production kind of take over here.
Yeah, it was a very techy song.
Yeah, but I mean the production was very strong, so like that definitely helped. But I do wish there was a bit more from him on his side. I gave this song a 7 out of 10 because of that.
Okay. I also like the spooky prayer. Like,
Hmm.
he, like, takes a twist on it, and it sounds like he also took that techie twist on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, I get what you're saying.
I think this song's a hidden gem. I gave it an 8.5.
I said 7, but
That's good. That's
yeah.
solid.
Next track, though, "Give Me Mercy." What did we think of this one?
This is a redemption song, 100%.
Mhm.
I mean, the line, "Hope it's all worth the bleeding," and, like, I think that line on its own is kind of the whole vibe of the song itself, hoping that everything he did is worth all the pain he has now, and now he's, like, kind of asking for redemption, and he wants to redeem himself because he realized it probably wasn't all worth it. Why did he do all this to himself? I'm not in love with the production and the beat on this one. I
Really?
thought it I thought it was a little different from, like, the message, and I couldn't really get into it.
Well, again, I thought, that kinda was kinda similar to what we've discussed before and, like, earlier in the album, like, with Open Hearts, how, like, despite, like, this very, like, dance-heavy beat, it makes you wanna get up and, like, kinda dance, you kinda sit down and you listen to the words, you're like, "Oh, man, this is actually kind of a
Yeah,
sad kinda thing."
call me a hypocrite, but I didn't like the production on this one, and I couldn't really get into it.
Well, the production was actually one of my favorite parts for me.
Oh.
I really liked the synths. It kinda have, like it kinda mixed in a bit of, like, a dance hall kinda sound, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, like, evoking the pain and sins of his past and, just pleading for forgiveness as he tries to move forward in his life. Again, like, this is kinda what we mentioned before, like, getting a bit more into his faith and now trying to just wash himself of all the pain from his drug addiction, from the fame that has kinda taken a toll on his mental health, kinda built up his anxiety, just trying to wash away all that, trying to get rid of that before he can transition into being someone else, just trying to be something new, someone better for himself and for the people around him, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And again, I really liked the production. It really worked for me. I gave the song a 9 out of 10.
Ooh. I gave it a 6. I mean, I do acknowledge that this is where we take another turn in the album towards, like, the whole theme of light and redemption and
Mhm.
asking for forgiveness and all this stuff, and realizing and accepting the pain that you have to deal with in order to get better.
Uh-oh.
You know what that means? It's 4 o'clock. It's time for first dinner.
But, was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, this wasn't my favorite, so I didn't have too much to say about it. I understand the message though, and there are some lyrics that I did really like, but
Mhm.
I think this one I just couldn't really get into myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
But moving on from there, we have Drive.
Number 18.
Almost there.
The song's so 2000s.
It does have that kind of vibe, yeah.
I loved it. I like the line "Fame is a disease." I mean, I like how The Weeknd's really starting to talk about how being famous takes a toll on you.
Mhm.
Because in this song, he talks about how he just sometimes he wishes he could just be normal and just, like, kinda go for a drive, literally, and I can't really understand I guess I can understand wanting to be, like, normal, but I think when, like, big celebrities or famous people say they just wanna be normal, I think they just don't want the attention because
You want
being
the attention that comes with your fame, yeah.
exactly. They just wanna not be noticed for a couple days and just be able to do their own thing like that, and I don't know, it ticks me a little bit when I hear celebrities talk about how they wanna be quote unquote "normal" because what normal is for a lot of people that live in America kinda sucks.
Mm.
Like, I don't want to be famous is what I'm saying, but they can live a little more comfortably than most people, so, like, it kinda that's just my little tick, is that, like, they say they wanna be normal, but they really just don't want attention, which
Yeah.
is understandable.
It's
I
a
don't know.
tricky kinda thing because like, it kinda dives into I think we kinda discussed this before,
Yeah.
sometimes, people, like, highlighting celebrities, so, like, "Why are you complaining? Why do you have problems? Like, you're rich, you're famous, you got all this stuff."
Like, they
But
have
the
problems too,
Yeah,
but I don't think they realize how good they have it sometimes.
I get what you're saying.
But maybe I'm getting too salty and too into my own personal digs, but I still really liked the song a lot because I just like the chorus and I like how flowy it is, and just finding overall, the song's about finding the joy and simplicities of life.
Mhm.
Just that little drive and that little, those little moments you have where you don't really have to worry about anything or have any troubles on your mind. And my favorite lyric in the line is "Just be kind, I'm a child again." I thought that line kinda hit me. I thought that was nice. But overall, celebrities, like, they just wanna escape the fame. It's not that they wanna be normal.
I get what you're saying.
Sorry.
Mm,
Maybe I'm just being salty
no, you're
because
fine.
I don't know, but
I mean, that's what it speaks on, it's just wanting to move forward for himself and
yeah.
away from that stardom. I thought it was a fine track. I think there's some better here. Kind of this message is kind of explained a bit better, I think, in some other songs, but the production is still nice.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I still gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I still really like the song.
Mhm.
I just kinda have to, like, put aside what I said earlier
Don't
and
be
just
salty.
and just enjoy the song itself. But anyway,
But yeah, moving on from there, we got The Abyss,
featuring Lana Del Rey.
Lana Del Rey.
I'm so happy she's back.
But
Back with
doesn't
The
that
Weeknd. Not back like she disappeared.
yeah, like, then she
She
dropped some stuff not too long ago.
she did, and she got married.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, she's having a year,
But
a
yeah, I
happy
think
year.
they work well together.
I love when they're together. This is a great duo. Very powerful, very emotionally driven, and I mean, the song really concludes that this is the end of the weekend for Abel, and he talks about kind of losing a loved one, and while that's happening, his whole life is up in flames, quote unquote, and it's just too chaotic.
Yeah,
And this is one of those songs where you realize it's truly the end of an era because you think back on the songs that they've done in the past and it's totally different now because now it's like, oh, this is it. This is the last one. And it makes it so much more emotional.
you know, he's singing about, just trying to keep a love that he has wanted to keep a love he has now that he's letting go of in the past, I thought was really nice. Yeah, like you said, the 2 of them together really work well,
Mhm.
and it is a bit sad, you may not get this anymore. I love how the production just builds more and more on this song. It's a really nice way for them to go out as, like, a sort of duo that's collaborated a lot in the past. But I liked it. I think there's a bit stronger though. We're kind of
Yeah.
getting to that point, like you're getting close to the end, so you're kind of deciding like there's just been so much that's come before it. So I'm just kind of deciding, what could have stayed, what could have gone. If you had to take some songs off of here, not that I would take anything out in particular. Not that I'm saying I would take this song out in particular either.
Mhm.
It's just I kind of reached that point of the album. It's really hard having an album that's this long, but I think it works well still.
I still like the song. It still gets stuck in my head.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it an 8.5.
Okay.
I kinda just wish it had more Lana.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have felt like more of a feature.
Yeah, it didn't feel too much of a feature to me either.
A lot of the features on this album didn't really feel like features. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Really?
some of them, like again, like we go back to Future. Like on the one song, he's just more of like background vocals. I just felt like the features. It definitely felt more like a just like on the weekend, and this
Yeah,
is it.
just a little sprinkle of Lana at the end.
Yeah,
So that's why I would have rated it. I probably would have given it like a 9.5 if there was more Lana, but that's okay. I still like the song a lot.
moving on from there though,
Number 20.
some of the final tracks.
Yeah,
Red Terror.
this is a tough one. It's sad.
It's sad, he's singing about his mother on the song. Just trying to be better for his mom. Hearing from his mother and knowing how she would feel about seeing where her son is at in his career and how much of a toll the career's taken on him, the addictions that he's had has taken a toll on him, and just wanting to be better for his mother, trying to move on from the weekend as he thinks that the weekend, carrying that title, is kind of what's affected him so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he kind of at this point the title of the weekend, just carrying that title going forward, I think just wouldn't work for
Oh,
him
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
It would leave like
that
a
person, it kind of feels like a different person at this point. He
yeah.
kind of feels like the weekend has made him a different person, and he wants to get back to being able, the person he was before all this, or at least someone new, someone a bit better, someone who isn't dealing with all this.
Keeping it the name The Weekend would leave like just a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah,
And he just wants to be a little different. He wants to make his mom proud.
I feel like I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I gave it a 6.5.
Mhm.
I mean, it's hard for me to get into like really specifically emotional songs like this one because I don't know. Production wise, I still liked the song. I liked the echoing at the end, and I really liked the lyric. I have only slipped away into the next room. That one kinda made me think about it a little. I was like, "This is such a sad song." So, I don't know. Sometimes there's certain messages where your brain's just like, "Oh, no, we can't think about it, no." But, yes, I mean, this is so sad, and it talks about I mean, there are really emotional lines in here, like talking about how they fled west and they must have fled from something that was really like scary.
Yeah,
They must have, I mean, his mom must have known that if they fled west, he would have had a better life and a better chance. And they talk about how he grew up in the snow, which meaning he was in Canada because it's cold as heck up there. She just always thought he was special and knew that he had that spark in him and had all of these hopes for him and just wanted him to be the best that he could be, and he's just kind of reflecting on it, and he's like, I gotta stop this. I gotta make my mom proud." And it's just sad.
It is.
I only gave it a 6.5 out of 10 though, because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, this is too emotional for me." Ugh.
But, moving on from there, we got, "Without a Warning." We're at those last bits of songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're coming up to the end here.
This song, I really feel like it's a reflection on his earlier days in his career, just trying to build up to something that he really wanted.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of feel like he kind of explains a bit just wanting to get back to that feeling, how he felt before all of it just came crashing down on him. Just like that hype, that excitement of just wanting that career and just wanting to make music, wanting to do something that he loves. Because like, that's kind of what you think of when you get into these types of careers. You don't think about all the pressure,
Yeah.
all the anxiety that may come with that fame that you obtain. You just want to do something that you love.
Yeah, and you miss that, like, innocence you had before everything happened.
Yes.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss, that kinda thing. Maybe not. Maybe just nostalgia.
I mean, the production, I think, also kinda helps to evoke the story. There were very nice synths added later on into the song, which I really liked as well. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. There's a lot of lyrics in here I really like Guts on the Stage, like, this is the end of the weekend, and he's leaving everything he's got out on the stage, and it's not gonna come back. It's gonna come back maybe as just Abel, it's gonna be different, and talks about how he felt stuck in this cycle, and I really like the line, "I just wanna feel life from the morning." He just wants a fresh start, and, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do to get that fresh start, and I feel like The Weeknd Abel is one of those people who really can only explain how he feels through songs, which makes sense that he's confessing all of this towards the end of the album to
Mhm.
me, and I also really like the production on the song. I feel like it has, like, that dissension throughout the song, like it's the end of a movie.
Yeah.
And the backing vocals I really liked. They kept repeating the verses over and over towards the end while Abel's, like, riffing, and I feel like you can really start to feel that it's just Abel singing. It's not The Weeknd that's singing, but it's just Abel.
Yeah.
You can really feel that split towards the end of the song here. I like this one. I thought it was a little different.
We kinda reached that point, like what you're saying, like, I kinda feel like the weekend has been slowly been washing away, and you're seeing more of Abel. You're
Yeah,
seeing maybe not a complete version of him quite yet, that's something I think really comes with time, but I
yeah,
feel like you're at this point, you see, like, he's reaching a better point, and he's trying to get to that goal, which is really nice to see for him.
yeah.
I think I said 8 out of 10.
Sorry.
You're fine.
I gave it yeah, yeah, we both gave it an 8. This is a great song. I like that he's starting to shed his skin towards the end of this album.
And the last track,
Here we are.
the title track,
Hurry up.
"Tomorrow." This song, it's actually really sad that you think about it, 'cause
Yeah.
you definitely feel like it's not just a conclusion of the album, but just a conclusion of the weekend.
Yeah. This is truly it.
The song has a really great '80s feel, but, like, not the typical '80s vibe that we've come to expect from him. You kind of expect, like, that '80s, like, very dance, synth heavy kinda song, like Blinding Lights or Open
Mhm.
Hearts, Cry for Me, that kinda thing, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
This definitely has more like that power piano ballad kinda vibe.
Yeah. I'm really glad we didn't go out with, like, a hit like Blinding Lights or something like that.
Yeah, no. Like, it is definitely a big, heavy track. It probably wouldn't have worked as a single, but I still really love it.
Mhm.
He uses the song, as a way to to explain why he took on the title of The Weekend to begin with, and reflects on the good and the bad that's come from the fame that he's obtained. It's just a really beautiful goodbye to this
Mhm.
person that he's created. But it's finally time. I think he knows it's just kind of time for him to put that to rest, and just
Yeah.
hopes, and also reflects on just hopefulness for something new and better as he moves forward in his life.
Yeah. This is a great conclusion not only to his trilogy that he recently had, but to the weekend as a whole. And the song is very faith driven. He's very much asking for mercy, for forgiveness, wanting to change and accepting the pain that comes with changing and moving on. And he's asking for redemption. He wants a fresh start. He wants to try again. And he's kind of washed away the majority of his fears and anxieties. And at this point, he's like, it's fine. Like, I don't care how much it hurts. Like, I need the change. And I think the lyric, Wash Me with Your Fire, really explains that
Hmm.
in such a metaphorical way, and I really like that line because of that, because, I mean, fire, like, "Ow, that's hot," and he's gonna get burned, and but when you're washed, usually that means you're being cleansed or you know what I mean? So, I think that explains this very well, and, I mean, he admits to all of his actions that he did because of wanting to fill the void of an absent father. He kind of admitted that in this song at the end, and how he wasn't the best person because he realized that's what he was trying to do. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes people just wanna fill a void and they don't realize how hurtful that they're being, but he's admitting to everything in this final song to the listeners, and I really like the line, "But now I'm drowning in the same tub where I learned how to swim." That song's so that whole line is so heartbreaking.
Mhm.
That's my favorite line in this whole song. Another thing I really like about this song is that there's no climax. It just slowly fades out.
True.
And towards the end, it's just like the main focus is his vocals, and it's just this slow and somber fade out. It's nothing huge production wise or tech wise. It's just Abel.
That's it.
That's it. He just fades out. Some people say it fades back and loops back to his very first song on his the first track on his first album.
Patrick pointed that out to me. I like
Yeah,
you can hear that.
I guess you can hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how like, if that's true, that's a really cool fact and a really nice touch, but I don't know how true that is.
It's not something that's, like, crazy noticeable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice touch regardless.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a nice sentiment.
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like he would do anyway, because he definitely does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's very intentional
Yeah.
and very emotional, so I could really see that if it's true, if it makes sense if it is. I just wanna hear Abel confirm that. Because I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I need the technicalities. I gave this a 9 out of 10.
I gave it a straight 10 out of 10.
Ooh, yeah.
Perfect ending.
It was a great ending.
Top 3 tracks?
So, I have a top 5
Oh, yeah,
because
that's right.
I couldn't it's hard because there's so many songs, it's hard to pick a top 3. I'm gonna start from number 5, and I'm gonna work my way up to number 1 because number 1, we might have problems.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so number 5 is "Cry for Me." Number 4 is "Take Me Back to LA." Number 3 is "Open Hearts." 2 is "Baptized in Fear" because I have to put those 2 together because I don't know, to me, they're one entire song half the time, so I feel like I can't have one without the other, but my number 1 song is "Open Hearts."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say "Timeless."
No.
You made it sound like we are gonna have problems.
No? Guess what? I wrote it wrong.
So wait,
I
w
literally think "Opening Night's" my favorite.
Opening
Okay.
Night is your favorite?
"Opening Night's" my favorite on the whole album.
Okay,
I don't
now
wanna
we
talk
do yeah.
I'm sorry, I just wrote it wrong yesterday because
Wait, say your top 5 again? I feel like I heard you say Open Hearts somewhere else.
I literally wrote "Open Hearts" twice because it's my number 3.
Okay. I
Hang
was
on, I'm gonna start
Yes,
over.
say it again.
I'm so sorry because you can tell I'm just out of it and I can't write. So, my top 5, number 5 is "Cry for Me," number 4 is "Take Me Back to LA," number 3 is "Open Hearts,"
Okay, I missed that.
number 2 is "Baptized in Fear," because they go hand in hand. Number 1 is "Opening Night." I just wrote it wrong.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I have an honorable mention, though. I have 2. I have an honorable mention to "Giving Up on Me" and "Big Sleep."
Those are good.
Yeah, I had to. I had to at least mention them because I think they're great.
I just had a top 3.
Okay.
I picked Open Hearts, Take Me Back to LA, and Hurry Up Tomorrow, mainly because those were my 10 out of 10 songs. Like, I
That's
can go
true.
back and listen to those ones.
Yeah.
If I had to pick 2 more to make a top 5, I guess I would say Wake Me Up. I really love that, the opening.
Yeah.
And probably Give Me Mercy, with honorable mention to Giving Up on Me. That would be my
Yeah.
top 5.
Wow. That's a nice top 5.
Overall thoughts? Final rating?
I didn't rate this overall, actually. I haven't even thought about it yet. I think overall, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10.
Mm,
8.7 out of 10.
I said 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought this was just really just a great, fantastic ending, not just to the trilogy, but to the artist that we've come to know as The Weeknd.
Yeah.
I feel like he's put a nice wrapped a nice bow around everything. Might be one of my favorite albums of his, if not my favorite. I don't know, thinking about it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It just takes you on that journey and discusses the highs and lows of fame, everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
It just feels like a perfect conclusion for him. and I wish him nothing but the best.
Of course, and I hope he still gets to create something. If it's not music, I hope he still gets to do something creative that, becomes his new outlet, his new muse. I mean, I feel like recently there are quite a few artists that are quote unquote quitting music. A lot of artists that we grew up with. So it's kind of sad to see the ending of so many different artists, like Childish Gambino, for example. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of done with this persona. Like, it's not me anymore. And a lot of people are just kind of like, yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna move on and do something else now. And I mean, The Weeknd specifically has been his music has been such a big part of my life since, like, the 2010s, so I'm kinda sad to see the ending, but I couldn't think of a better way to end it.
That was a perfect ending, but it does make you feel sad because, like you said in the beginning, we essentially grew up with this voice, with this
Yeah,
guy, and we've seen him evolve as a person. We've seen him evolve, like, creatively, stylistically, like, there's been so many changes.
yeah. So it's one of our favorite albums, we've agreed, from The Weeknd, but do you have a favorite from his trilogy? Not the album trilogy, but it could be your favorite if you want it to be, but his recent trilogy from the 2020s.
After Hours to this, I'd probably say this. I
Really?
think this is the strongest of the 3. I kinda feel like you're gonna say well, you say it.
I don't know, I'm really mixed up here, but I just can't help but love Dawn FM, and I
Yeah.
think that's my favorite out of the trilogy. I really think it's my favorite because Sacrifice was my favorite Weekend song
Ooh,
for a
that's a good
long
one.
time. I love Sacrifice, it's so good. The song with Tyler, the Creator, on it,
Here We Go Again.
Here We Go
That's a good
Again,
one.
that's such a good song. So I think Dawn FM still has to be my favorite from the trilogy, if not my favorite Weekend album, because I just like how different it is, and I like how fun it is, and I like the dystopian vibe to it. But Hurry Up Tomorrow has such like an elevated feel to it.
It's
It
cinematic.
it's a very cinematic, theatrical style
Yeah.
that it's hard to deny how good this album is. So it's definitely like my second favorite.
I think they just get better every time for me from After Hours to this. I feel
Yeah.
like he's just grown and just gotten better. He was just in that kind of victory lap at that point.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is dying at his peak, I guess, that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Alright, Abel. We'll see what you do next, though.
We'll be watching.
I'm gonna
We'll
be
be
watching for
reviewing,
you.
whatever.
I'll go see your movie.
Yeah, we're gonna see the movie.
Are you gonna have a special popcorn bucket?
What's it gonna look like? Hmm.
It'd be funny.
Hmm.
It'd be really funny if he should do this, and if he does it, I'm gonna trademark it, I'm gonna copyright it, this is my idea. I'm saying it now because it's my idea. If Abel goes on to do music, he needs to drop a single called Monday
So
because The Weekend died.
it
So
becomes the weekday.
he doesn't have to become the weekday. I just think it would be really funny if one of his songs, his new songs, is titled Monday. So if that happens, I'm saying it right now. This was my idea first.
We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna make a cover band called The Weekday.
Cover band. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be touring every city, every single city. You better come see me.
But with that, that's it.
That
Thanks
was it.
for taking this journey here with us. This is a big album, so there's a lot to say.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be another long episode, but you know what? It's fine.
It's all
We
good.
got a lot to say.
Got a lot to say. We got a lot more coming at you soon in the future. So you can keep riding with us on
Yeah,
this journey.
you guys stay with us.
We need y'all. We're trying to grow.
We gotta have a peak so we can
I
die.
want to get paid for this.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. No, I'm just kidding.
Take your money.
But we'll be back with you soon. But for now, this has been
The Duck
Duck Squad
Squad podcast.
Podcast.